Hello, welcome to the weather update. And today we had some sun to start, and then clouds kind of built in the air in the mid part of the afternoon, and then things kind of cleared out again toward the evening. Before I get started with that, though, let's talk about the tornado that happened today. Even News 12 covered it. EF-0 tornado touched down in Mattituck. So you can see they actually did a good job covering it. 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
The National Weather Service
EF-0 tornado touchdown. So you can see some of the damage there that happened there. So this was confirmed. And we're going to go read the actual official statement from the National Weather Service because it was a pretty bad storm that we had last night. And let's go to right now the official statement from the National Weather Service on this tornado. EF-0 tornado confirmed in Mattituck, New York. The National Weather Service Storm Survey Team, in conjunction with the Suffolk County Fire Rescue and Emergency Services, has confirmed an EF-0 tornado in the Mattituck area of Suffolk County, New York. Based on the analysis of the storm survey findings and OKX dual pole radar reflectivity, velocity, and derived data, including a tornadic debris signature, and I don't know why they didn't issue a tornado warning for it. I didn't see one. It was determined that an EF-0 tornado first touched down at Juniper Hill Farms around 11:17 p.m., damaging a greenhouse and downing a couple of large trees on the property. The tornadic circulation likely lifted or skipped along as it tracked east-northeast across a 1-mile stretch of remote wooded area before touching down and shearing several treetops and large limbs in the vicinity of Cottage Way, Walnut Place, and Lipco Road between Sound Avenue and Old Sound Avenue. Peripheral straight-line wind damage to a larger tree was also noted near Shirley Road and Horton Avenue to the north of Sound Avenue as well. The tornadic circulation likely skipped east-northeast in the vicinity of Old Sound Avenue and Main Street near Love Lane and Wickham Avenue with spotty tree damage noted. So it went through the heart of Mattituck, which is Love Lane, before definitely touching down once again between Wickham Avenue and Mary's Road to the north of Pike Street, with a large maple tree sheared a few feet from its base, minor siding and roof damage, and leaf splatter on the west and south sides of the home. This most prominent damage path, about 50 to 75 yards in width, continued along Mary's Road, where 3 evergreen trees were snapped at their base in a convergent pattern, the 2 southernmost trees laying in a northeast direction and the northernmost tree laying in a southeast direction. The tornado continued eastward across the Mattituck-Cutchogue Junior-Senior High School, twisting and damaging a large scoreboard, overturning metal benches, and laying down a 100-foot section of wind fence on the north side of the adjacent tennis courts in a northerly direction, again consistent with convergent wind patterns. The tornado then continued east over the high school, ripping up large sections of asphalt roofing material over one of the main buildings. The damage across the high school grounds was the most severe along this path, consistent with tornadic winds of 75 to 85 miles an hour. The tornado then exited east over the area of homes on Village Lane, causing significant tree and fence damage to several homes before likely lifting around 11:20 p.m. as the rotating storm continued eastward over the farm fields and vineyards that lay to the east. No visible damage was noted to the east of this point. So that was the end of the tornado path. So it was an EF-0. That's winds between 75 and 85 miles an hour. 2.1 miles. That's impressive. Path width 75 yards. Fortunately, no fatalities or injuries. It started at 11:17 p.m. yesterday, 25th, and ended at 11:20 p.m. So we're going to go and take a look at the map and show you where this all hit, and we'll see if we can find some let's go Mattituck tornado. Let's see if we can find anything on any so it looks like one of the New York City stations did cover it. An EF-0 tornado did touch down here, and you can see here that we go to the Twitter here, you'll see there might be some pictures as well here. This is the radar signature right here. So it looks like these are some of the radar signatures here you can see. And there was quite a lot of damage here. It was quite a storm out in Suffolk County that hit last night. It really was. So if we go and we look at the maps, which we'll do right now, we're going to look and show you where this was in Mattituck. I know Love Lane very well. This is Love Lane right here. This is Pike Street. So this gives you the idea. It went right through the heart of downtown. There's Wickham. This is the whole area that it hit right here. So it really went right through the heart of downtown. This is downtown Mattituck here. It's a pretty nice downtown area. But you can see it probably did cause some damage to some of these trees here. And then it continued over toward the high school, which was over here. All right, this is where there was actually the most significant damage right over here in this particular area before. Again, luckily there's some undeveloped land over here, and they said it started in a heavily wooded farm. So let's see, take a look and see where it started, show you where it started. It started at Cottage Way, Walnut Place, that whole area. So let's see, we have to make our way west now. Let's see. Oh, it went through Laurel Lake Preserve. Is that? Yeah, it started in Laurel Lake Preserve, I think. So, yeah. This is Laurel Lake Preserve. There's actually an area of pine barrens right here in Laurel Lake Preserve. But, yeah, that is... So, its beginning was in this area here. Start. They give the latitude and longitude. So, let's actually go and put this into Google so you get an idea of where this thing actually started. So it actually started over here and worked its way east along through here, Laurel Lake Drive. It went right through Laurel Lake Preserve. Yep, it went right through there, and then it went into the heart of Mattituck. Wow, that's incredible. No, actually, yeah, it started here, and then it went east-northeast, right into the heart of Mattituck, right here. So that is a tornado, and I mean, it was an EF-0, but still, it's significant. It's a significant weather event on Long Island. I'm glad News 12 did cover it as well. So let's go to the Ventus sky, and again, we're going to look at the radar around this time and see if we can actually spot the tornado. Let's see if we can find the signature. Oh yeah, right there. Right there. There's the signature of it. Again, you have to have really high resolution because it was a very small tornado, and I guess they couldn't really confirm it on the radar, so that's why they didn't want to issue a warning. But still, significant storm that hit the east end, and definitely one that will be noted. Again, we're going to see more and more of this stuff. Again, as we deal with the effects of climate change. So. Again, this is our current satellite picture. We'll look at some of the skies today because they did actually clear out toward the late afternoon hours. This was Southard's Pond. And it was warm and a little bit of humidity. We had some altocumulus around and then some building cumulus in the evening there. Also some billowing cumulus at dusk there. But no storms for us. However, if we go to today's radar, which we'll take a look at and we'll rewind this here, you will see that there was a line of storms that developed in Connecticut. And this was this evening around 6, 7 o'clock. You can see there was a line that did develop in Connecticut. That went to the north there. All right, so that did not hit us. But I want to go back to the National Weather Service because we want to look at those storm reports. That we'll have to see if they put a link up here for them. There's the special weather statement for those other storms here. So this is the storm reports here for the other Calverton, trees and wires reported down. Here's the full storm report here for Suffolk County. So we had thunderstorm wind damage in North Babylon, trees reported down, trees and wires down in Babylon, in Sequoms Lane North. So it got worse as it got towards Suffolk County. Tree down with multiple wires and utility crews responding due to power outage. 39-mile-an-hour wind gusts at Stony Brook. Damage in St. James. Damage to Greenhouse and Laurel. That's the tornado. A 60-mile-an-hour wind gust at Shinnecock Light. That's really impressive. A 49-mile-an-hour wind gust at Jackson's Landing. 45 miles an hour wind gust at JFK in Queens. We saw that. Tree down on River Road with cones put in its place. So this was in Oyster Bay. A tree down in Oyster Bay Cove. Flooding in New Jersey and Union. So this was where the flash flood warnings were issued here. I'm not going to go through all of these here. It's just some marine wind gusts here. But still, significant event last night. The threat was there, and it seemed like it started blowing up over central Nassau, but it really didn't start get going until it got into Suffolk County, and that's when it really was a pretty significant storm. And we will want to look at those rainfall totals as well for that storm as well. We're going to try to get that information for you as well. So let's go to the local observations across the area. And you'll see right now, looking at islip 68, dew point 63. So, we have a southwesterly flow, which is why we have experiencing a little humidity today. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Nothing terrible, but definitely not like the way it was. You can see temperatures generally in the 70s all day long. And so let's go look at our highs for the day. Actually, before I do that, let me go look at precipitation. Let's actually do a 36-hour precipitation. So it should show the amount of rainfall that fell last night with those storms. And you can see, again, North Shore getting the most, but there's a 1.14 report in Farmingville. And let's take a look at the Suffolk County area here. So 0.57, 0.53. Brookhaven Airport got 0.43. Again, West Hampton somehow missed out. Well, here's something very interesting. So West Hampton's got 0.10 over here. I guess this is that, and then there's that's the site by the southwestern. Yes, there's an area in the southwest part of the Dwarf Pines where they have a weather station. Look, they got a little more than the actual airport. That's kind of interesting, but because the South Shore just kind of just got avoided the South Shore again. It's typical. Going along here, you can see again. So, some areas got a decent amount of rain, but again, its usual areas, the South Shore, again, not really seeing a whole lot of rain once again. So let's go look at our high temperatures now for today. And today was above normal for sure. We'll take a look at those high temperatures. Looks like mid-70s across Long Island for highs. And let's see how it was in New Jersey. More like upper 70s over there. So it's definitely warmer over there. 78 degrees for a high at Lakehurst. So a lot warmer over there. So let's look at the weather in our area now. Of course, we turn to the tropics and Ian, which is strengthening quite rapidly. So let's go take... And there's another disturbance, too, they're watching. But we're just going to be talking about Ian here because Ian is definitely strengthening now. So, as of 8 p.m., conditions in western Cuba beginning to deteriorate with significant wind and storm surge impacts expected overnight. As of 8 p.m., its location 20.8 north, 83.3 west, about 130 miles southeast of the western tip of Cuba. Maximum sustained winds now 100 miles an hour, moving north-northwest at 13 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure 965 millibars to 8.50 inches. And let's go now to the map. Warning cone here, and this is where the hurricane warnings are now up for now parts of the United States. Looks like parts of the Keys, as well as the Tampa area. Hurricane warning, and then there's a watch. That's probably going to become a warning really shortly. But it's heading it looks like it's heading right for the Tampa area, the eye of it. And this, like I said, it's going to become a major hurricane. It's going to rapidly strengthen. As we're going to look at it on the satellite, you'll see exactly how much it's strengthening. We can actually see pretty easily on the satellite. So let's go to Ian. Oh yeah, there it is. You can see it's already looking a lot different than it did yesterday. It's really got that look to it. You can see, look at the convection blow up there as the sun sets. I know it's coming in kind of slow, but yeah, you can clearly see this is a rapidly strengthening hurricane. And that western tip of Cuba, I think, is pretty flat. It's not going to do much to it. So, yeah, this is a pretty intense hurricane here. And it's got a lot more real estate, a lot more warm water. Remember, there hasn't been any hurricanes in the Gulf this year. So it's got plenty of warm water to work with. In fact, the temperatures are above normal, the water temperatures in this area, and it's going to get even stronger. So let's go look at the earthnullschool.net, and we'll show you the water temperatures in this area. that we've got to work with. So sea surface temperature anomaly. See, it's above normal. And again, very warm water here in this area here. We have water temperatures well into the mid 80s. So yeah, it's quite warm. We pull this out a little bit. You should be able to see there the water temperature there, mid 80s, 86, 80. Look at that over the Keys. So this has got very warm water to work with, and it's going to really strengthen. And oh man, Tampa is going to have some serious problems, I think, unfortunately. And this could be the storm that could really bring Tampa to its knees, for sure. So that's one satellite image. Let's go look at the other one from Tropical Tidbits. And again, you see that pink, you see that white. That is a strengthening hurricane right there. It's undergoing rapid strengthening, and by this time tomorrow, it will be a major hurricane. It'll probably be a Category 3, maybe even a Category 4. So let's go look at the tracks, and the models still don't quite agree here. This is because of the high building into the north and various upper air things going on. The models still don't have an agreement on it. Some of them take it further south. Some of them take it like south of Tampa. Some of them take it right over Tampa. Some of them take it more over Tallahassee. You can see they're all over the place, and this is the problem. And that's going to make a big difference. And this is why this is a really tough one to forecast. In some ways, Fiona was fairly clear cut. The models they were all kind of focused in one point, but this, you can see, is there's a big spread, and that's the problem. Same thing when we look at these GEF ensembles, same thing. All right, when we look at the intensity guidance, a lot of the models taking it to a Cat 4, and I really think it will reach Cat 4 status. I wouldn't even rule out a Category 5 with the waters that warm. For sure, this storm is going to be another devastating storm that we've got to see again. Let's go now to the. I guess we'll go to the models, and we'll take a look at how they're going to handle Ian. So that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to look at now looking at the surface first of all on this CONUS view. You can see this is the GFS, all right? So we have that kind of cut-off low. High pressure starts building down, especially as we head toward the middle of this week. Got a cold high building down, and that's going to sit over the northeast and kind of slow its forward progress down, which is not a good thing for Florida, obviously, but it's going to protect us, and eventually it's going to try and make its way. You see this high, though, is trying to push it to the south. And it's questionable whether we'll even see any moisture from this, because that's a pretty strong high down there that's building. You have a couple of highs that are building down and keeping the moisture away from us. And we'll have to see. But this is going to slow its progress, and this is why the models are kind of all over the place with this. So this is the GFS. If we are to look at the European model, let's go to the European model next. Let's see what the European does here. And remember, we don't have as much of the European, but you can see it tracks it even slower and has an even stronger high. So this storm is going to sit over Florida for a while, and that is the problem. It's going to sit there and cause a lot of damage. Rainfall, heavy rainfall, flooding, that kind of thing. All right, let's see if we can get a regional outlook with the European. Good, so we're going to go a little closer now, all right? So this is the European model, all right? And you can see here, again, it looks like it makes a landfall over Tampa right around midnight, actually midnight Wednesday night. So we're talking about 48 hours from now, all right? And it's going to sit over there, and it's going to take all day Thursday into Friday just to get to the northeast coast of Florida, like Jacksonville, all right? So with this particular setup, if we were to look at the total accumulated precip, take a look at this. You're talking about a foot of rain, if not more, over these areas. So it's going to cause tremendous flooding. And even the rest of Florida is still going to see 2 to 4 inches of rain out of it. But in this swath, you could see the heavy, heavy rain that could be. So not only are you going to be dealing with the wind and the storm surge, but you're going to be dealing with the rain flooding. So there's going to be tremendous amounts of flooding in this whole area here. And even if you're inland, you're not safe from it. And honestly, I would this whole area in yellow, people should evacuate in that area, because that's how bad it's going to be. And we still haven't looked at the Europeans wind. Now let's go and look at the wind on the European. All right, so here's the wind on the European, and you can see it's a small area. It's a compact storm, but within that area, it's kind of reminding me of Andrew a little bit because of its compact nature. Within that area, that's where you're going to see those 130 plus mile an hour winds that are going to be hitting the coast. I would expect everybody to lose power with winds like that. Once it gets in, it does knock the winds down quite a bit. But we have to watch out for that brown ocean effect. We've seen this with storms before. They don't weaken quite as fast as you think. All right, so that's the GFS. I mean, that's the European, but let's now go to the GFS. All right, so this is the GFS, and see, it's a little quicker, and it's also a little larger with the wind field. And it takes it in just a little more north of where the European takes it in. So the European might take it just a little bit south of Tampa, which would actually be a worse situation because, I think both of them keep it in the east side of the storm, which is the worst part of it. But you can see those strong winds again, and you can see it goes, but it moves a little quicker on the GFS here. Let's see. It still crawls. It still crawls, but not quite as bad, and it's the center of it is over the water, so it stays stronger for longer. All right, so if we look at the total rainfalls for the GFS model here, you'll see those yellows are over a smaller area. All right, but the European would definitely have much more widespread flooding implications. All right, so now that we've looked at those models, let's change this to, and I don't know if the NAM is going to go far enough out. I think it would. Yeah, the NAM goes far enough out. NAM looks a little more like the European, you can see, with here's that yellow band, so it looks a lot more like the European. And if we go and we looked at the actual track here, you'll see again, here's the NAM, and you can see here that it goes right, it looks like right over Tampa, and it just sits there, just like the European. So I'm thinking, I'm kind of leaning toward this scenario because of that strong high, and this is going to be devastating for many parts of Florida. Many parts of Florida are going to be devastated. And this Disney World around here too, that may be shut down indefinitely after the storm is done with it. So yeah, this is going to be another devastating natural disaster. And let's just go and we look again at this, and it's a compact storm, but you see it moves right over Tampa, which is literally the worst spot because Tampa is a big city in Florida. It's one thing when you've had Panama City Beach get hit. That's a much smaller city. Tampa is a big city, and that's going to be a big problem. With a storm like this, I would expect a total blackout in Tampa as far as the power grid goes. I don't think it would be able to handle that. But this is, again, Wednesday night, and this is a little quicker with the landfall here. This is a little more quicker. This is more landfall, more like in the early evening. So the NAM's a little quicker when we compare it to the European, which is a little bit slower. A little bit. The landfall is about the same. So, yeah, it's about the same, I would say. Maybe I misspoke when I said midnight. I meant early evening. So Wednesday night, that's when this thing is going to hit. And it's going to be quite a doozy for this area. It's going to be quite bad. And then, yeah, that's the landfall on the European. Landfall on the GFS is, again, it keeps it a little more offshore, which is better for Tampa, but then it kind of curves it in, and it makes that landfall more toward midnight. So these GFS is a little later than the other models are when it comes to this. But let's go back to the European here, and I think we have, does it give us wave height? It does. All right, so this is the wave height, and there's going to be a significant storm surge with this as well. So you're going to have storm surge come in and inundate a lot of areas along the coast. So Tampa, if anyone's in Tampa, I think the whole city should be evacuated if this track verifies, because I think the city, it's going to be the next New Orleans. It's going to be just completely flooded and devastated, unfortunately. So let's go now to the windy.com site, and we will go and we will look at a different representation of the models on this site, because I kind of like the way this site handles them better a little bit. So we first start with the GF. This is the European, actually, we start with. So you're going to see it intensify, crosses Cuba, and then you can see it start to intensify there. You start to get in those It's going to be stronger than that, too. I think this is the GFS. I think it's going to strengthen even more than that. But you can start seeing that area white. That's your 100-plus mile-an-hour winds there. But this is the low-end wind total on this site, all right? If I put it up to the gusts, which is what we should be doing, you see that bright white right there. And that's where you're going to see your 120-mile-an-hour wind gusts, 120-mile-an-hour sustained winds. And it gets even more than that. 123, but this again is the European that we're looking at here. I said GFS. I'm sorry. It's just looking at these. This looks a little more like the GFS when I'm looking at it on here, I guess. But this is the European model. All right, so you can see here's Tampa, and right next to Tampa, you got winds up there quite a bit. All right, so Category 3 winds, maybe Category 4 winds, and then it just crawls it. This looks different than the one I just looked at. Yeah, no, this looks more like the GFS. That doesn't look like the Euro. So that must have been an older run of the Euro or something. I don't know. That looks more like the GFS because the Euro takes it right in over Tampa. I wonder if they got them mixed up. Yeah, this site may be not working correctly. It's just a shame because I like to use it, but let's try Ventu Sky instead, because yeah, that seems kind of mixed up there. So let's go to the just go to the wind, and we will go and we'll move this into Wednesday, and we will go to 5 p.m. All right, this is the HRRR. Oh, this is the Icon model, which I didn't even look at, which takes it in it takes it in Wednesday night. Oh, man, the Icon's even faster. So if we go over here, let's flip this to the Icon here. It's another model we can look at here. The Icon is even faster. Brings it in earlier on Wednesday and takes it right across. But at least it moves it a little quicker. That's the Icon. And then this is the Icon, and it takes it out over the ocean and gives it a second landfall in South Carolina. So the Icon's even crazier. See what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a bunch of models that are all over the place, basically, which make it very hard for us to forecast exactly where this thing is going to hit. But I think anywhere on the west coast of Florida is going to have to watch this storm very, very closely. Let's go and look at the HRRR, which I don't think we have enough of. Let's get that HRRR in here. This is the HRRR. I don't think the HRRR even goes far enough out to cover it. We'll see if it does. It looks like it does. So the HRRR is bringing it in the middle of Wednesday, and it's bringing it in south of Tampa. So this is the HRRR, looking a lot like the Icon, and kind of moving it across fast, which means it would go across Florida, reemerge, and then have a chance to make another landfall again. So that's the HRRR model. We can look at the winds as well with this. You can see that it just intensifies right as it makes that landfall right there. Naples, unfortunately, looks like they would get hit in this one, this particular scenario here. But still, we have one more day before the conditions deteriorate in Florida. And if you're on the Keys, you're going to feel it tomorrow. You're going to start feeling it tomorrow. So let's go now to the rainfall on the HRRR. So this is the rainfall map, and you see it's not quite as impressive as the Euro, but still some areas might see close to a foot of rain out of it. So, yeah, very impressive storm that we're going to keep an eye on, but let's now go and shift gears to our area. And we will take a look and see what we're going to be having. So, obviously, tomorrow, it should be a fair weather day. Again, it's showing some inland scattered showers, just instability in the air. And then the same thing happens on Wednesday, too. So there's some scattered instability that pops up in the afternoon because we're still kind of on the fringe of that high. All right? Now, of course, every model is going to be different with that and representing that high, which affects Ian, as you know. So let's look at the dew point here on the HRR. And you'll see dew points drop later tonight. Drier air tomorrow. We have west winds tomorrow, so west winds tomorrow, and then they become a little more toward the northwest on Wednesday. All right. And if we look at the temperatures, you'll see maybe we'll get down to upper 50s to around 60 this morning. Tomorrow will be around 70 degrees. Cool night probably Wednesday night with lows dropping back into the 50s and maybe some 40s in the Pine Barrens. And then for Wednesday, upper 60s will be the high. All right. If we go look at the GFS, which we'll do next, similar look to the HRR in our area right now. We go to Thursday, you can see the winds start swinging to the north because now you have that high and Ian, so you're going to have that gradient that's going to bring in a strong north to northeast flow. Here we are Friday. Winds go a little more easterly on Friday, all right? And then the weekend, we'll have to watch for the remnants because we have this battle, but you'll see what happens. Another high comes down from the north, and that might actually keep the moisture from Ian, and we're going to be in between the two, so expect a strong east wind next weekend. So here we are with the temperatures, and as we go into Thursday, you'll see again, we're going to be fairly close to normal, upper 60s, and then the weekend still staying in the upper 60s. So with that east flow, it's going to stay cool. Now let's go look at the skies. And so here's tomorrow, starting off with clouds and less clouds in the afternoon. Wednesday will probably be even sunnier, though we'll have to watch some of the clouds from Ian. Trying to make it in. There's a battle between that and this other feature to the north. And then on Thursday, we push it to the south. I think Thursday will have a mostly sunny day. And then Friday, you see some of the clouds creep back up into the area again. And then for the weekend, well, we'll just have to see. That's far out, all right? It's far out in the forecast. We can look at the RGEM, which is a higher resolution model, of course, for the clouds. And as far as tomorrow goes, starting off with the clouds, and then we clear it out toward the afternoon. Should be sunshine, but again, we'll have to watch for some of those instability features in the afternoon, popping some up. Here we are Wednesday, in between the cirrus clouds from the south, from Ian, and because it's going to get pulled up into the jet stream. And then for Wednesday, you see some clouds building off to the north here. This is with the second, like, almost frontal feature. And then Thursday, we have to watch again that series. We're going to be on the fringe of this all. So it's very hard to predict exactly what's going to happen. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to. The September is going to end on a very active note, regardless, especially for Florida. That's going to wrap up this weather update. We're going to keep an eye on Ian, of course. And again, this is going to be really bad for Tampa. And I think by tomorrow night, hopefully we'll have an idea of exactly where this thing's going to make landfall. Right now, we're just still not sure exactly where the center is going to make landfall because it is a compact storm. And if we look at the latest public advisory, you would see the extent of the hurricane force winds is 35 miles an hour. Tropical storm force winds extend out up to 115 miles. So it's not a huge storm, but it could grow in size. So this is another thing. If it grows in size, then more Florida is going to get affected. So we've got a major storm to watch. It's going to be busy for the next couple of days. Have a good night, and thank you for watching.